So I sell my art at a little store here near where I live, and I just wanted to show you how sometimes I just kind of try to get creative, think out of the box, and just show different ways of displaying them. So I went to a resale shop and I purchased these old blocks. I don't know, they've got carvings, they're really pretty. They're just not like your typical blocks. I'm assuming they're pretty old. So I thought they were really cool that I could do something with them. Then I was thinking outside of the box, and I love chairs. I used to paint furniture for a living, and I recently gave that up due to a shoulder injury. But I decided to take all the chairs that I accumulated and maybe just take them apart and think about how else I could use a chair. So I took all the little spindles, like on the chair backs, and I cut all the little spindles down. Different chairs, obviously different size spindles, different shapes. And then I painted them white and I distressed them because I really love that white distressed look, farmhouse country look. But if you don't like that look, you can paint them a solid color. You can paint them pink, red, whatever color you want. Anyways, I chose to paint them white, and then I drilled a little hole inside each one. So these were chair spindles. Then I came across some fence posts, very old fence posts. Someone was taking down their fence, and they had given me a bunch of fence posts, and I didn't know what I was going to do with them. They were really long, really bulky, and I'm like, well, why do I have to use them the long way? I can cut them down and use them a little bit smaller. So I decided to just cut down. I did different sizes of these. I already had brought them to my shop. Otherwise, I'd show you the different sizes, but I do think I have a photo that I'll show you later. So I had cut them down this size, a little bit longer, and even a little bit longer. So I had like 2 or 3 different sizes. So I'm thinking I really love using repurposed items in my art somehow. And I love watercolors. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you, I just chose some mushrooms today, but I've done these in flowers and moons and suns and everything else. But I'm just gonna show you a quick little way of how I repurposed some blocks and chair spindles and a fence post into some cute little displays for my watercolors. All right, so first, like I said, I cut down my chair spindles, I cut down my fence post, and I went to a vintage store and I collected some really cute blocks. And then I came home and I cut down certain little sizes of watercolors. I just kind of mashed it up. I think this is like a 2 or maybe a 1.5 by 2.5. I don't even really know, but I cut down a whole bunch of sizes and I put them in this cute little container I had picked up at a store. So they're ready to go. I just cut a whole bunch of the same size watercolor paper, put them in here so they're ready to go, so I don't have to sit there and play around with cutting paper all the time. I just got it all done in one shot. So they're ready to go. And then I cut down a whole bunch of different size watercolors, more of these vertical shapes, because I wanted to place it on the fence post. And I thought that this shape would be really, really cute. And then for the chair spindles, I'm using the same size watercolor paper that I'm using for the blocks. All right, so just to show you a little quick sampling of what I usually do is I'll take a pencil and let's just go ahead with the mushroom theme. I've got a little mushroom theme going on today. I took a lot of pictures of mushrooms in my backyard, and I'm kind of in this little mood to paint mushrooms. All right. And you can Google any image of mushrooms. There's photographs of mushrooms, there's painted mushrooms, there's whimsical, there's realistic, you name it, it's all out there on the web. So just Google some mushrooms that you like. And I'm just gonna go with this really generic shape. And I'm gonna take my kneaded eraser, and instead of using a regular eraser, this doesn't leave any eraser shavings. It just lightens up your lines a little bit. Or you can use watercolor pencil if you'd like. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do another little one on this sheet. Maybe a little bit different. Maybe I'll have a couple little mushrooms coming out different ways here. Okay, and then this one here, I'll just do a nice long mushroom. Really tall, coming out like that. And then maybe I'll do another one, a smaller one down here. All right, so just quick little pencil marks. Go ahead, lighten up your lines, Start choosing some colors you like. I'm using Winsor Newton watercolors because that's my go-to brand always. I've been using that since my college years. I know there's a lot of great brands of watercolors out there, but I've been using Winsor Newton for over 30 years and I don't think I'm gonna change. Okay, so go ahead. I'm using a size 8 and I've got my Princeton Velvet Touch brush. Use whatever size you have. And I'm gonna just do the first one in a red. This is my Cad Red. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to apply a lot of paint to the outside rim of my mushroom here, just outlining it. Now you don't wanna really outline it and leave it because then sometimes you've got that outline mark there all the time. And you can't really get rid of that. So go ahead and apply it kind of quickly. Wash off your brush. And while it's still wet, go ahead and start moving it inward. Then you're gonna get your lights and your darks. And I like the middle of my mushrooms to be a little bit lighter and the outside, the outline, to be a little bit darker. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and leave that there and I'm gonna pick up my other one. Let's do this one in indigo. I think this is my Prussian blue. Gonna go ahead and use my Prussian blue and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna kind of outline my little mushroom. Just get it nice and saturated on the edges there. Wash off my brush, just damp brush, pull it in. Again, the reason I'm doing this is because I like to leave the middle part of my mushroom cap lighter. If you wanted it to be lighter on this side, you would darken most of your left side and then just wash off your brush and pull it to your right or vice versa. But I like the middle of my mushroom caps nice and light. So I'm gonna do it like that. Oops, and then I think I'm going to do the other one the same color. Okay. And again, you want to work kind of quickly because you don't want this to dry too much and then you've got that outline there. I'm not going for an outline on my shapes. I'm just going to make it, I want to make it just darker on the outside of my mushrooms. So blend it in. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and let that one dry and I'm gonna pull this one. So let's do this one. Let's do it purple. All right, and I've got an ultramarine purple, which I am in love with. It's kind of like an you can make it. It's ultramarine blue and dioxazine purple, but they had one that was already pre-made, so I bought it and it's called ultramarine violet. I am in love with this color. It's like a bluish purple. It's a little bit more on the blue side than the red side. So again, I'm gonna do my outline and this mushroom is gonna be exaggerated and a little bit taller because I've got it going on my fence post. And then pull it in, blend it up real good. All right, I did put a little bit too much water on this one, so I'm gonna go ahead just with my brush, lift up some of my water and dab it off on my paper towel. Just gonna take off some of that water. We can always go in and reapply more paint in a little bit. All right, again, this one I'm gonna do the same color. All right. And just with water, I'm gonna pull it in. There. All right, so let's let that dry. Let's go back to our red one. And I see that it's nice and dry in the middle, but a little bit damp on the outside, which is totally fine. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that same red. Again, I'm using my Cad Red. And I just wanna exaggerate that outside, a little bit of my mushroom cap. Just wanna make it a little bit darker. And again, I want to leave the middle part of my cap nice and light. All right, this one's still really wet, so I don't need to do that. And then the purple is still wet. All right, so I'm gonna blow dry these really quick and then we're gonna start putting on the little bottoms to the mushrooms. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna mix up and I'll show you my palette here. I didn't show you my palette yet. I've showed it on other videos, but I've got these really big palettes. I've got one more for my warm colors and then I have another one for my cool colors. And it's got these nice big areas just to mix your colors. And I usually leave my colors there and not wash off my palette every time, because I usually go in and use some of the same colors. And you can always reactivate this with water. That's the beauty of watercolor. So you don't need to clean your palette off every single time, especially when you're going to be using the same color. All right, so I have here my burnt umber. And I know they say don't use a lot of white in watercolor. You're supposed to leave the paper, the white paper alone if you want your whites in traditional watercolors. But I always go against the rules, especially with art. And I'm gonna use a little bit of my white, and I'm gonna start making a lighter color of this brown. You can go ahead, if you don't have white, just go ahead and use a lot of water and just dilute your paint, and you'll just start getting a nice light color. But it makes it a little bit more milky, a little bit more opaque, and I just find it beautiful. So I like to add white to my mixed paints. All right, so that was burnt umber and white. I'm still using my size 8. You can always move down to another size if you feel uncomfortable doing it with a larger brush, because these are such mini little paintings. And I'm going to start painting in the bottom of my mushroom. And I want to leave a little bit of white space, so there's some white highlight on these. And then I'm going to fill it in this way. Now I know that some of my red is still a little damp, so I'm trying not to touch my red too much. All right. Bring it down as much as you want. Give it a little curve at the end here if you want to. I'm going to actually put some grass around mine, so it doesn't really matter. And then I'll pick up my other one, and these. Oh, and I should mention the perspective of my mushrooms. This one here, you're looking at it from the bottom up. That's why you see a little bit of the underside of the cap. These here, I'm gonna be looking at it more like down, like you're looking at these mushrooms from the top down. So I'm just gonna be doing some stems. You're not really gonna be seeing the underside of the cap. All right, this one here, I'm gonna do like you don't really see it, the underside of the cap. But this one here, I am gonna do like you're looking at it. It's got a different perspective here. I'm gonna do these with a little bit of a thinner stem. Okay. And then this one will be coming down like that. All right. Let's thicken him up a little bit. All right, very good. All right, so at this point you can go ahead and add more blue if you want. If you made a blue like I did, I'm gonna take my Prussian blue again. I'm gonna add just a little bit more on this side over here. I just wanna get it deepened up a little bit on that one. If you feel like it's too much, just take a damp brush, pull it off, dab it off on your paper towel. That's all. All right, and then I think I want my purple to be a little bit deeper also. So I'm just taking the same purple, bringing it on the sides here, washing off my brush, and pulling it in. There. And I think I'll do the same thing to this little one. All right, so now that we did that, I'm gonna take a little bit of my sap green, make a little wash of sap green. You can move to a smaller size brush if you want to. I am not gonna bump it up to the mushroom at this point. I'm gonna dry it and then I will bump it up, but right now, I'm just gonna be putting in some blades of grass, and I'm just kind of going on like a little curve this way, and then I will curve it out this way on the side of the mushroom. Okay, we could bring some down here. And I will bring some greenery up onto my mushroom, but not at the moment because it's still wet. So let's go ahead and do that to the other one. Do the same thing on this one. I'll bring this grass up a little bit taller because it's a longer piece of paper. All right. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and dry this so then we can put some on our mushroom. Okay, so I went ahead and dried them. I think, is this one still a little wet? No, it's good. Okay, so I'm gonna take a smaller brush now. Let's see, this is a size 1. And I'm gonna pull in some of my Hunter Green, which is a little bit of a deeper green than the sap green. And I'm just gonna do some light little, well, not light, but smaller, thinner brush strokes. So I still want that sap green showing, but I'm just gonna do some more whimsical little darker blades of grass. All right, and now that my mushroom is dry, I can go ahead and put some on here. And let's go ahead and put some on this one. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Micron archival ink pen. I've got a size 3 here. You can use any pen you like. This is just what I had right next to me. And I am going to go ahead and put in some little detail on the bottom of the mushrooms. So maybe like a little bit of a broken up line. And then I'm going to kind of outline this, but again with a broken up line. I like my lines to be broken up. I don't like there to be too perfect. And then the mushrooms on the other side have this really beautiful lining, like curved lining. So I'm going to do some of that lining under the mushroom there. Look how cute that is. All right, now these, you don't see the underlining of the mushroom, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do a little bit of line going down my stem. And then this one here again, you do see it. So I'm gonna do again that nice curved little lines under my mushroom. All right. And let's put some detail in these mushrooms. Now I like to use Posca markers. I have different sizes. Actually, these are, they both say 3, but for some reason this one's smaller. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Anyways, but I do have different size Posca markers. All right, and I'm gonna use white today. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put in some polka dots in my mushrooms. You could do swirls, you could do, it doesn't matter, swirls, lines. You could just leave it plain if you want. I'm gonna take a bigger one. This has just got a bigger circle. And I'm gonna put some bigger ones in my blue. And actually I'm gonna do the bigger ones in my red one too. All right. You can go ahead and put some highlights in these if you want to, but I think I left enough highlight that I don't need to do that. But what I do wanna do is I've got this glitter glue. It's actually glitter paint. I don't know. You can use glitter glue, glitter paint, whatever. They're all the same thing. And I've got one that's silver here. And I'm gonna use a brush that I don't really care about too much. Actually, you know what I should do is probably dry the Posca marker really quick. Then we can add some glitter. All right. I'm gonna take a little bit of my glitter. And I just want to put a little bit of glitter on the cap of my mushroom. Maybe not the whole thing, maybe just more like on the outline. Just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of sparkle. I don't know if you could see that. Just a little bit of sparkle. And if you don't want to do this part and sparkle and glitter is not your thing, don't worry about it. Just don't do it. There. All right, and then just make sure you wash off your brush really well because again, this is acrylic paint or glitter glue or whatever you're using. Just wash off your brush really well, especially with the glitter on there. You don't want to ruin your bristles. All right, dry it off. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to show you how I start putting these together. So I've got my wire here. You can use any gauge wire you want. I don't know what gauge wire this is. It does not say on the pack, but it's not really thin and it's not really thick. It's just kind of right in the middle. And I'm gonna unroll a little bit here. I don't know, maybe this is about 1 foot. And I'm gonna take my wire cutters, snip it off. And so I'm gonna be doing this one first. So just to show you, this is what it's gonna look like. All right, so I will take this chair spindle. I already had pre-drilled my hole, and I'm gonna take a little bit of my wire and I'm gonna just kind of bend it like this. And I'm gonna make sure that it fits in the hole nicely. I'm gonna take a little bit of my glue gun. I've got some strong glue as my glue gun, and I'm just gonna put it in here. You can use Elmer's glue, whatever you have on hand. It may just take a little bit longer to dry. And then the rest of this, after I glue it, I'm just gonna twist it around my finger, kind of loosely, not very tight. You could just twist it around a marker, a pen, a paintbrush, whatever. I'm just using my finger. And I'm gonna leave this little curve here, okay? Just like that. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're going to glue, actually I think I wanted the red one on here. I'm gonna go ahead and glue the same glitter, the same glue gun. I'm gonna put a little dab of glue on the back of this, just a little dab, just so it stays in place and it doesn't fall out. And then that's what it looks like. You end up with something like this one. All right, so that's the chair spindle. I'll go ahead and finish this one off camera and then show you. So then let's do a block. Let's do, you also want to see on these blocks, do you want a letter showing? They've got cute little animals. This one's got a little moth. This one here, I chose the A to show. But the beauty of this is if the person really wanted the E on the other side, whoever's buying this, they could just twist it around and now your E is showing. So that's kind of nice too. Or, well, the K is sideways. Just depends on which way your block is going. But I really wanted the A to be showing. So it's going to look like that. All right, so take your, I only have the T showing on this one. So take your wire again and just kind of put your block on top just to measure it. I want maybe about 6 inches up. So I'm going to snip it right there. Okay. And if you want your T showing, make sure your T is facing towards you, not up, because this will be the top. The little moth, it has a little moth here. It's going to be showing it going up. All right, so kind of make them as even as you can. Bring them to the middle and just start twisting your block. Okay, so now you've got something that looks like that. Same thing, take both wires and twist them around your finger, a pen, a marker, a paintbrush, it doesn't matter. And you're gonna get that little curlicue here again. So now I can take my little painting and I'm gonna take a little glue for my glue gun and put it on the back of this. You don't wanna put the glue on the front of your painting because that won't look good. Just put a little dot of glue back there so it hits the painting and the wire so it stays nice in place. So then you're gonna have something that looks like that. All right, so that's the block. And I will glue that in a minute. And then the fence post, what you're gonna do is you're just gonna take, oh, and actually I wanted to put a little bit of a border on this one. So let's go back to our paint really quick. I think I'm gonna put kind of a pinky border. I'm gonna take my Perm Rose, make a nice wash of my Perm Rose, and I'm just gonna take and make a little border going down my painting on all 4 sides. It just kind of makes the white paper stand out from the picket fence because the picket fence that I have is kind of a whitewash. So it'll make it stand out nice. Now you might have a stained fence or whatever, so you know, you be the judge if you need that border or not, but I felt I needed the border. All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to glue this. I'm going to take some Elmer's glue or whatever glue I have. I'm going to put glue on the back of this and then just place it down on my fence post. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick and I'm going to show you the finished product. Okay, so I went ahead and I glued them and I just, like I said before, I was just putting a little dot of glue in the back. I just used my glue gun. And this one here, I just put a little glue in the hole, again, a little bit of glue on the back of the painting. And, oh, and then this one, I just took some Elmer's glue or whatever glue, tacky glue I had, and I painted it on the front. And this one actually, I can't show you on camera right now, but it actually just stands up like this on a counter, which is really cute. And another thing I did with this one, just to kind of show you, just if you want to jazz it up a little bit more, is I went ahead and I took a little bit of my wire and I just kind of twisted a little bit of wire right around the fence post. And let me cut it. Okay. And if you want to go ahead and you put a little bit of glue on the back if you want to, so that the wire stays to the fence post. Otherwise, it just kind of stays on its own because you just curl it around. And it just gives an extra little oomph to the display. So very cute. So here are some little ideas for you to go ahead and create little mini paintings. Again, I did these all in mushrooms today, but I have done them all in suns and moons. I have done them all in flowers, different kind of flowers. So just pick out a little image that you like and go ahead and start creating. And I hope you have fun. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, and you can give me a thumbs up. Make a comment in the comment section if you want to. Let me know what you think of these, and have a great day. Thanks.